Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and hope everybody's having a good day out there today, and thanks for spending a little time with us on today's video. Guys, today we're going to be talking about buying reels, spinning reels and bait casters. I'm going to sort of give you guys some tips and advice so you don't get buyer's remorse. Sort of simplify the process a little bit because, man, there's so much to choose from out there as far as reels go. And I don't have any real deals, guys. I buy them like you guys do. And right now I've got some 10-year-old bait casting reels in the shop getting fixed up. So I don't have any type of a bias here, so I can give you an honest thing that you need to look for on reels. So we're gonna get into that. And also, guys, if you're interested in purchasing a reel, you can check on, I'll put a bunch of reels in my view product shopping tab. When you click on the video, when the video starts at the bottom, you'll see a thing that says view products. It's 30 products I put in there every day you guys might be interested in. And if you buy a reel off of that link, it's a good way to support the channel. So much appreciated there. Okay, guys, the reel deal, it gets more complicated every year because back when I got started bass fishing back in the 70s, there wasn't that much. I mean, there was basically Garcia had the Ambassador 5000 bait casting reel. Mitchell had some Mitchell 300 spinning reels. There wasn't much out there. And as you got back into the late 70s and early 80s, you started seeing Shimano came on the scene a little bit with the Shimano Bantam 100, which everybody wanted. But there still wasn't much. There wasn't a lot to choose from. There wasn't a lot of gear ratios to choose from. And the process was much simpler, and it's gotten more complex year after year. And now, guys, there's so many people that make reels, and there's so many different reels out there as far as different, gear ratios, profile sizes, speeds, spool capacities, all that type of stuff. It's intimidating for somebody to know what to look for right off the bat. So I'm going to sort of give you guys a simple foundation of how you're going to be happy with a reel once you buy it. And we're going to get into some of the details on the reels. We'll talk about the bait casters and the spinning boat. First thing you have to realize about when you're buying a reel is there is a lot of truth to you get what you pay for, because most of the time the cost of a reel is directly tied to the components in it. It's tied to the how the components are made, the quality of the component in the reel, and how many ball bearings a reel has. The number of ball bearings directly relates to how smooth a reel feels in your hand. So if the more ball bearings that you've got in a reel and the higher quality of the component, the more expensive a reel is going to get. So what I want to do is I sort of want to go over a little bit what is I think a good price point for a reel that you can get a good serviceable reel for that you'd be happy with. So first of all, price-wise, there's a lot of stuff out there, and I'm not really going to talk about any brands because, like I said, I don't have any real deals, and I'm not here to promote any brand. But you can get a really good spinning reel for that sort of that $130 to $170 range, and you can get a really good bait cast reel from sort of that $200 to $275 range. When you're talking about a reel that's going to last a long time and you're going to be really happy with over a long period of time, that's sort of the price point that I have found that matches a budget pretty good and also matches the quality of the reel. Now, you can pay $500-600 or more for a reel, and yeah, those are going to be good reels, and then you can pay less for a reel and they'll work okay. But a lot of times I think that some of the upper end reels, I just don't think they're worth the money. I think in terms of how long a reel lasts and how long they maintain the integrity of their gears and stuff like that, I don't know if it makes that much of a difference. And you will find a reel that you get down on the lower end of the price point, like down around $100, that those reels, the gears especially, will wear out on them quicker. So that's the price point. Now, what you're looking for specifically, guys, I'll give you a few of my tips that I found out about a reel here. This is a Lew's BB1. Like I said, I'm not trying to promote any reel whatsoever, but what I'm talking about can be, you can apply it to any reel out there. One of the first things that you have to realize that you're going to be happy with is get a reel that has a large handle on it. This is super critical. The size of the paddles on there and the knobs and the length and the overall length of the handle. This is very important to give you cranking leverage. Same on the spinning reel with that. So make sure that you get a good oversized handle. That's going to be the main thing. The next thing about it is when you're trying to decide the ratio of a reel, the gear ratio, there's a lot to choose from. You got, and it's super complicated. You got everything from like 4.1 on up to like 9:1 in a gear ratio. And the ratios, if you're not familiar, is how much line the reel takes up on one turn of the handle. But I'll tell you something to simplify it so you don't have to get caught in that rat race of gear ratios. Just a 7:1 ratio reel is going to be great for you. I mean, there are some specialty situations, but guys, this is all I have. I use a 7:1 reel for everything, for flipping, pitching, cranking, swim baits, everything like that. And yeah, there are some situations where I could probably use a lower gear ratio for one of those baits that really pull hard or it's big, but for no more than I fish percentage-wise certain lure categories, I prefer the feel of a 7:1. And that's really important also is I think that you should have all your reels the same ratio out there, because you can change how fast you reel or how slow you reel. And once you get comfortable with that ratio, it's a lot easier to make that adjustment. Now, if you pick up and you're throwing a 4.3:1 and then you pick up a 8:1, it's going to feel, pretty awkward in your hand with that. So from that standpoint, it's really important. The next thing, guys, is just make sure that you have a reel that feels good in your hand. That's the main thing about it. It's like when you talk about gears and all the components and the thumb bar and all that type of stuff, they're all pretty much on the same level. There's not a lot of separation or difference in different manufacturers. But the main thing is everybody has different size hands, so make sure that reel feels good and comfortable in your hand for a bait caster. Now the spinning, we've talked a little bit about the last couple of weeks. We've been talking about the spinning. It's the same deal, guys. Make sure you got you a big meaty handle, a big oversized handle. The power is really critical with that. That's going to be a big deal. One of the things that I do prefer is a spinning reel with an anti-reverse, because I do back reel. If you guys back reel, which guys by far is the best way to fight a fish, you've got to have an anti-reverse enabled to do that. And there's a lot of reel manufacturers out there now that are starting to do away with this. So I would prefer that my suggestion would make sure that you have this anti-reverse knob here that you can put it in there. The next thing, guys, when you're purchasing a spinning reel, make sure you get at least a 3000 series spool, the diameter of the spool. A lot of people I see fish with 2500 series, and it's not the way to go, because you can't cast as far, you can't run as heavy line on it, and the weight on the thing is minimally different on a 25 or 3000, but you will get a significant amount of distance on your casting, and you'll be able to run a little bit heavier line with this. I can run on a 3000 spool, 10 to 12 pound test line on it fairly easily. That's very difficult to do on a 2500 series reel. And most spinning reel ratios, it's just somewhere in the 6.3:1 range with that. And also, we talked about this last week, try to find a spinning reel that doesn't have much of a gap between the spool and the main frame there, because that line will get underneath that spool if you have too big of a gap there. But anyway, guys, that's just a few things to look for to keep it simple. Don't get intimidated in the sea of reels out there. That's sort of my suggestion if you guys are looking to purchase a reel, to sort of follow those guidelines, and I think it'll make it happy for you. So anyway, I'll put those, check the View Products link out there. Check that out, and that's appreciated. We'll talk later.